get off the screen.
Yes, I'm not on the screen.
Okay, is it showing and is it ticking? Yes or no?
I'm logging into YouTube right now.
And now, the star of the show, it's Michael. Welcome to the Savage Rap. Glad you could join me today for the, I would say this is the virgin outing of my YouTube show. I'm planning on doing this every day at this time, which will be 3 p.m. Turn off the metronome. I got your attention. We'll do it at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. That's how I started in radio, was 3 o'clock Pacific. I revolutionized talk radio in the country, certainly in San Francisco. No one can debate that. And here we are. I know that I have many of you wanting me to do this every day for no reason whatsoever, other than you want my rap, my review of the world. It's very easy. It's really easy to look at the world and say the world is finished, but I'm not there. I've got some smart people in my life who say it's broken, it can never be repaired, it'll never come back, and I say you're wrong. First of all, I believe in cycles. Secondly, I believe all epidemics burn themselves out. And I was right. Remember, during the COVID epidemic, I told you that eventually the epidemic will burn itself out, which it did. Yes, there were vaccines which helped, but ultimately the epidemic burned itself out. And this epidemic of left-wing insanity, call it political correctness, call it wokeness, call it stupidity, call it perversion, it's all going to burn itself out. When you have a president like this who's nibbling on a frightened young girl during a trip to Finland, weirding out people around the world, the man is a sick man. Not only does he have Parkinson's dementia, but he's mentally ill. Go look at michaelsavage.com. Yes, go to my website. I'm going to go to a bunch of websites with you today. And I'm looking at your streaming comments. I welcome the return of the beard. Thank you for that. That's the most important thing, is do you like the beard or not? Don't comment on that, please. So today I'm going to paint in a broad brush. Sometimes I paint in a broad brush. Sometimes I paint in a medium brush. Sometimes I use a pencil. Today I'm going to paint in a broad brush. And we'll look at some of the stories of the day. I wrote some questions for you today. You know what's missing is music. That's the one thing that I miss from my talk radio career, is being able to play all of the great jazz and rock and roll and classical music and all the stuff I played for 25, 26 years. It set the tone of the established mood I was in, right? You can't run it on these podcasts or whatever they're called, these YouTube casts, because they're all copyrighted. And I respect copyrights because my books are copyrighted. I also miss callers, but not as much as I miss the music. Callers became a problem because you can get a guy who's too slow and your mood's fast, they're slow. Then it asks you how you feel and how's your mother, and you got to hang up on them. Miss the bumper music, right? The heavy metal, everyone loves that. I welcome all of you. I see you up there on the screen. I'm doing something a little different for you today. All of my other YouTube shows were on the iPhone. I set it up on the right side of the desk. Today, we established something new for you. It's easy. It's primitive. A 9-year-old could do it. We're running it right through a webcam into the screen. So it's directly in front of me instead of me turning and turning and turning, right? Turn, turn, turn. So let us begin. Let us begin. I wrote some questions of the day for you. One, is fitness white supremacy? I had a call today from a news station in Texas. And the man said, I'm the news director of a station that you used to be on. And we can't believe that they had a dumb guest on who said that white supremacy is Nazism. Do you have any comments to make? I said, well, does that apply to Black and Hispanic athletes and Asian athletes as well? What is going on with Master Stupid NBC? What are they, crazy to have an idiot like that on the station? Fitness is white supremacy? How much stupider can you get with questions like this? If Biden peed down his leg during a live speech to the world, would Anderson Cooper call it rain? I'll let you answer that one. Can you name one state or city, Michael, run by a minority or an out gay that is not a wreck? I've been searching for it. Maybe I'm wrong here, but I can't name one city or state run by a minority or an out gay that is not a total wreck. I can't name one. Can you name one? Please name one. Let's start with New York City, the biggest city in America. What's his name? Andy Andrews? Mayor Andrews, Mayor Andy. I don't know his name. All I know is he has nice sport jackets. The city is burning. The minorities are pushing white people in front of oncoming trains. And he gets up there and says that the city's never done better with another $10,000 sport jacket. Okay. See, I told you I'm going to paint with a broad brush today. So let's look at some other stories and see what you think about them right now on the Michael Savage, whatever it's called. Savage Rap. Biden libels on frightened young girl during trip to Finland, weirding out Twitter users. Next story. Joe Biden takes yet another stumble as he climbs stairs of Air Force One in Helsinki on the way home from Europe trip. How can you laugh at an old man falling up and down staircases? But it made me think about this. With all our money, we can't afford an elevator for him to get onto Air Force One. They have portable things they lift like the Pope up and down with. The old schmuck shouldn't be climbing steps at his age. They should give him like what do you call them? The things that they use in like loading docks, whatever they're called. What do you call them? You guys are in that. The loading docks that go up and down. Whatever. They could put him on a thing like the Pope, lift him up and put him right on the airplane. Now, of course, I'm avoiding the biggest story, which is Biden orders 3,000 reservists to be ready for Europe deployments. But hey, man, he's a man of peace and unity. So now we're sending troops to Europe. Well, they're on the ground already. They've been there for over a year. Special forces have been fighting the Russians since the beginning. But, we're not supposed to say that. And his cluster bombs have arrived in Ukraine. Let's have a round of applause for a weapon of mass destruction without one word from the American left. Cluster bombs now in Ukraine to macerate Russian flesh. Now, what about the cocaine in the White House? Should we talk about that, or are we supposed to look the other way? Let's analyze this together. Let's see. It's the most secure place in the whole world. Maybe Kim Jong-un's esophagus might be more secure than the White House, but I would say this is a pretty close second. The White House has to be the most secure place in the world. I will say I have been there. I was invited when Donald Trump was president. You have to go through rung after rung after rung of security. That's after you clear the Secret Service background check by mail, weeks or months in advance of going there. So they certainly know everyone who was in and out of that place. They have cameras in the toilets. They have cameras under the toilets. They have secret cameras in the toilet rolls, but they have no idea where the cocaine came from. Now, if this were in Ecuador, the people in Ecuador wouldn't tolerate it. They wouldn't tolerate such a story like this. But you, of course, because you're focused on abs and breasts, and half of Ukrainian refugees in Germany want to stay forever. I wouldn't blame them. Let's see. Biden forgives $39 billion in student debt. White House goes around Supreme Court ruling to give relief to borrowers. Okay. French President Macron mercilessly booed during Bastille Day parade. He's Rothschild Bank. He's unqualified. Can you name one Western leader who's qualified, who's not a criminal or a gangster or a total lunatic? I'm watching a TV show that I've got hooked on. My friend Thomas, who originally alerted me to The Sopranos 20 years ago. Of course, I'm addicted to it. It had been for years. And he knows his TV. So this one is a British drama that began in 2015. It's on Amazon, on Prime, and it's called something about police, corrupt police. And in each show, the villain usually turns out to be the top police person, who in the beginning looks like a good guy or a good woman. And strangely enough, because it was done in 2015, some of the most corrupt ones are how shall I say it, not white. They were pushed into the position. They turn out to be more corrupt than anybody else. It's a hell of a show. Line of Duty, highly recommended. But you get hooked on it. You sit hours staring in front of a TV. So why is it that, well, my father told it to me. Why is it the corruption goes to the top? Well, it's like Coney Island in the heat. My father said, don't go there because, it floats in the water in the summertime. I said, no, I'm not going to go in the water. It's the same thing. that stuff floats to the top. Activists in Germany glued themselves to the road and they might need amputation of hand. Idiots, morons. Health and Human Services, Levine. This man has a mental case, belongs in a mental hospital. This is Admiral Levine. He's an admiral like my dead dog is an admiral. H.H. Levine. Oh, yes, sir, Levine. Can't limit gender-affirming care to adults because puberty is hard, especially if it's the wrong one. I don't know what he's talking about, but in my day, Levine would have been put into Creedmoor State Mental Hospital with his admiral's uniform. They would have let him wear his uniform around the halls so he could give the same speeches he's giving now to the world. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer pushes legislation to declassify documents about UFO phenomena. I would think that I don't care. I had a friend who was a UFO Meshuggah for 30 years. He's a real PhD physicist, and all he would talk about was UFOs. UFO this, UFO that. And he said he was visited when he was 8 years old in Brooklyn, and that they told him this and they told him that. Then he got his PhD. Then he's been bamboozling people his whole life that they're here, they're near, they're everywhere. So I said to him, John, I don't really care if there's UFOs. If they're here, let them do something to save us from Joe Biden. There's not. What's the point? What do I care if they're here or not? Climate czar John Kerry exposes bald-faced lie over use of private jet. What did I just tell you about what floats in Coney Island in the summer? That's John Kerry. He's a floating turd. Pennsylvania 14-year-old escapes abduction attempt inside shopping mall. Okay. U.S. federal debt interest payments about to hit $1 trillion. Oh, what the hell? Come on. That doesn't matter under Joe Biden. Let's go to some of the other websites that I look at. I know I'm not supposed to. We'll go to the Drudge Report. I look at these sites every day. Okay, billionaire Ken Griffin reconsidering support for DeSantis. Trump destroyed DeSantis and the Republican Party. I'll go into that at another time. I know you don't want, he said something that's not supportive and worshipful of Donald Trump. Oh, my God, what's going to happen now? He'll be denied a meatloaf entry at Mar-a-Lago. The worst thing that ever happened to this country was the feud between Trump and DeSantis. Because I will tell you right now, DeSantis is a very decent man. And he was the future of the Republican Party. Now, hold on now. Just hold on now. Stop being a schmuck and a worshiper like of Napoleon. Just stop it for 1 minute. DeSantis is 20 years younger than the great Don. So even if the Don could win, which he cannot win the presidency. It's impossible. I don't care what you have been told. I don't care how many hats you have in your bedroom. Okay? No, this is not disloyal. This is the most loyal thing anyone could tell him. Stop ripping DeSantis to shreds, because what you're doing is you're shredding the Republican Party for the next 30 years. And as a result of this, we're going to get Biden again, even if he's in a wheelchair, dribbling on himself if this keeps up. George Will, I don't like George Will. I don't care what he says. Let's jump to a better website right now. I like Breitbart an awful lot. They're great. Tucker Carlson grills Schwentz over January 6th. Tucker Carlson grills Schwentz, Vice President Mike Schwentz, over the January 6th, 2021 riot at the United States, asking whether he believed it was an insurrection, as the establishment media has repeatedly claimed. And Schwentz gave a good answer. Schwentz is not qualified to be president, but I met Schwentz. He's a nice guy. And I can never say anything bad about Mike Schwentz because, number one, he began his career as a talk show host, so that's a plus. Number two, he's a devout Christian and he really believes it. I like devout Christians. And when I came into his room to meet him before I met President Trump, Mike Schwentz took out a copy of my book, God, Faith, and Reason, and he showed it to me, and he had underlined the first two lines, and they asked me if I'd sign my own book. How could I not love the guy? He's a decent Midwestern man. He cannot win the presidency. Okay? Oh, let's see what else is in the news. Special counsel pushes back on Trump's request to delay Doc's trial. NATO almost reconsidered Ukraine invite after Zelensky outburst. What is with Zelensky? How many times do I have to say to him, stop already with the olive drab Fidel Castro, Yasser Arafat outfit? It doesn't work anymore. The act is old. It's not playing. Get yourself a friggin' suit. Go to Bonnie's Basement online. You can find a used suit for $29 that might fit you. There's got to be some short guy somewhere in Eastern Europe that had a suit that he that he died wearing or something that you could buy for $39. I wore dead man's pants as a kid. Come on, Zlatan Moszewski. Wear a suit, for Christ's sake. Stop with the outfit. No one's buying the act. Did you see that sad picture? He went to the NATO meeting. Nobody wanted to talk to him. They didn't want to touch him. They didn't want to be seen with him. They let him on a lower platform next to the women. And what's with his wife's dress? Zelensky's wife looks like she's wearing a dress that they stole out of a Russian department store after they invaded Western Russia. Where did she get dresses? Where did they get dresses like this? I mean, look, you could laugh at Eastern Europeans and their outfits. I understand that. But the age of bad clothing in Russia and Eastern Europe is long over. For Christ's sakes, go to Filon's basement online and buy yourself an outfit. Boss of crypto platform Celsius arrested on fraud charges. Whatever happened to the crypto crook, may I ask? Where'd he go? Or the one who's allowed to live at his parents' mansion in Palo Alto? The man who allegedly conducted the greatest financial fraud in American history is still not in jail. But if you don't return a library book, the tax squad comes in a black helicopter. Great country we're living in. Detroit police commissioner resigned. Did you see that story? Come on. They say Detroit in Detroit, by the way. I had a cousin who lived there. You say Detroit. Detroit police commissioner resigns after claiming prostitute jumped into Detroit police commissioner Brian Ferguson, minority, by the way, resigned Thursday after being accused of having sex with a prostitute in his vehicle. At the scene, Mr. Ferguson, the police commissioner, allegedly asked a Wayne County Sheriff's deputy, "Can you help me out?" Yeah, they helped him right out into the police station. The Detroit News reported Thursday. Caught in a car with a prostitute's head in his lap, and he said she jumped into the car and refused to leave. That goes to lipstick on my collar, but it's a family show, so we can't go down there. I mean, we can't go there at all. Well, that's it for the news, my folks, my good folks. It's been 18 minutes now. Disgusting behavior. You have to see the video of our demented president literally blowing hot air on an infant in Finland, nibbling on a frightened young girl. This man is not fit for office. This man is a frighteningly disgusting, demented, sickening human being. Now, you go to the New York Post, kindergarten teacher who poisoned 25 kids to get revenge on coworker executed. They killed someone in the country? Doctors sound the alarm as potentially deadly STD spreads like wildfire. Maybelline's partnership with bearded influencer met with Did you hear what Maybelline did? It was bad enough that Bud Light had the tranny freak, and they destroyed their brand. And I made this bottle up for when I used to be a TV star. I called it Dud Light because that's what they did to their brand. So now you have Maybelline. Maybelline, it's like a low-end makeup line. Been around since I'm a kid. Used to see it in Queens in the middle-class houses. Now they have a man with a beard putting lipstick on, and they wonder why people are getting upset. Disney heiress arrested protesting private jets in ritzy New York community. Lunatic, moron, drug addict, schizophrenic. Put her in a straitjacket and take her right to Creedmoor. Shoot her up with Thorazine. They can still find a few vials and put her back to where she started. 65-year-old Rocky star seemingly gets married to 25-year-old personal trainer. Who's the old one here? The old woman married the old guy. Another moron marries a 25-year-old. Tell me the longevity of that marriage. Rocky star Dolph Lundgren, 65, and Emma Croakdale seemingly get married in Greece. Lundgren is vacationing in Mykonos with both daughters, and he gets married to a 25-year-old Corva. Are you kidding me? She's marrying him for his looks, I'm sure, and for his great soul. I had a great friend who died about a year ago. Great guy, living into his 80s. One of the nicest men I ever met. He was I'm not a tall guy, but he was shorter than me by 5 inches. Made himself into a wonderful person. Rich man, created products, and inventor, great man. And he always had young women, never got married. So he once looked at me, he said, "Michael, do you know why they go out with me? They go out with me for my good looks and my physique." He knew what they went out for him for. So we have to look at this now, and you wonder why there's a war in Ukraine and why the cities are melting down. Let's go to a couple of other websites before I sign off. It's been a 20-minute monologue here, and I can hear the clock ticking away. It's like a radio show, and I got to take my first break. But I will not come back after this break until the next show. And that's what you're going to hear as I sign off on the Michael Savage YouTube show. Now, this is going to go right onto Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and other sites. We could do it direct to Twitter because this is the future of the media right now. You know, Tucker Carlson is a pioneer, and he moved over to Tucker on Twitter. 80 million people, can't be wrong. And I've been putting my YouTube pieces onto Twitter after we record them. It's easier for me than any other methodology. I don't have a crew. I don't want a team in here with a camera. Then I have to someone clean up the mess over here and make it look like a studio. This is the raw Michael Savage. And so the fact of the matter is this will be on Twitter a little later on. And I'm planning with God's will. It's a Friday already. Wild brawl of scantily clad women breaks out at Las Vegas casino. You take a look at the women, scantily clad women. Like Lenny Bruce once said, you know, she wears a see-through dress that you don't want to see through. Any woman who's scantily clad, I don't even want to look at, to be honest with you. So let me conclude, since it's a Friday, with a prayer. I'll conclude. Oh, I must show you something. Right. No, not now. Save it. I want to do everything all of a sudden. I want to do everything in the first show. But with God's will and your viewership, and you must press the like button. You must press the like button. This is the future Savage. Be as raw as you'd like. Just be honest. I'm being who I am. I'm talking to you. You're in the house. We're just looking at the news. What I intend to do is go on to YouTube each day at 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock here, like I started in radio, and paint with a broad brush. I thank you so much for listening and enjoying my beautiful dimples, my great face, and I hope you'll continue to listen to Michael Savage live on all these other platforms, because I don't need any producers, no owners, no advertisers, no supervisors, no censors, no co-hosts, no lighting men, no directors, no producers. And I thank you so much for listening. I'm now going to press simply the button that says stream. See you Monday, God willing. Take care.